welcome everybody to my channel yet again, and I am going to be straightforward. This is a short compilation of what I believe is a comparison and an informative video concerning the engine sizes of motorcycles. I'm going to bring up what we call the medium-sized motorcycle group, not necessarily the latest, but the ones that I'm certainly familiar with and the ones that I can certainly speak about. I have some experience concerning motorcycles, as some of my friends will tell you. I at least know what a fuel-injected motorcycle is or a carbureted motorcycle isn't. But this to say that the video is mostly concerning 3 or 4 mid-sized motorcycles, which I believe are critical to the message I want to convey. And as a result, you're going to be seeing now pictures and hearing my voice at the same time, as opposed to seeing me ride a motorcycle. But for those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. This channel is mostly about motorcycles and mostly about riding a motorcycle. Every now and again you'll come across some food, some scenery and the like, or even cars for that matter. I don't have a big passion for motor cars at all, and therefore you will never really see me do any kind of review on a motor vehicle. To me, they are couches with 4 wheels. I know you could say the same about a motorcycle, that they are a semi-couch on 2 wheels, but the level of fun on a motorcycle is twofold compared to a motor vehicle. But anyway, this to go ahead and continue with what I wanted to say. You all know I ride a CBF 600. I have had a number of motorcycles in the past, and I have ridden a number of motorcycles in the past, including I think 1 liter bike in the past, and 750s, the VFR 800. I have had experience on larger capacity motorcycles, and this is what this video is mostly about. As a child, we are confronted for the very first time, oftentimes with a small-sized capacity motorcycle. And before our teen years, I think I was on a scooter of some sort, or a motorcycle with an engine right in the front, driving the front wheel, believe it or not, the front wheel drive. And that to me was one of those experiences that I'll never forget. Pretty much as in line with what happened when I got my first hour solo in an aircraft. Well, not hour, my very first flight alone. That is the kind of experience I'm talking about. And this to say that I believe that the marketing campaign that motorcycle companies engage in bringing us in line with what they believe is the right sized motorcycle for a man. I'll be blunt and say that yes, I mean you could find motorcycles 1800 cc's. You get V8 motorcycles these days. It's crazy. The marketing campaigns are launched so that when you begin riding, you start off on a small motorcycle, then you grow from a 250, you go on to a 600, and the story never ends. You end up on a 750, 800, and you keep on going until the bitter end, which unfortunately never seems to end. Once you've reached that high capacity motorcycling, you will find that the satisfaction that you kept on looking for since that very first ride on a scooter that you rode when you were about 9 or 10 years old, at least that was my experience anyway, has all but vanished. But this to say that I have nothing against big size motorcycles. In fact, I love them. Most of you that already know me and in this channel will recall that the VFR 800, which is a pretty sized motorcycle engine with 110 horses, I would consider that to be a pretty big bike and pretty heavy to maneuver. But this to say that at the end of the day, what I'm about to present you are the following. This SV650 by Suzuki, which has been around forever and a day, a V-twin which produced in the vicinity of 70 kilowatt horsepower, forgive me, and then all the other 600s, all the way up to 2014, I think it is, the MT-07, the parallel twin, which I think of all is the lightest and the one with probably the most satisfaction, power to weight ratio and fun factor. I'm not going to rate them in any way whatsoever, for a simple reason, because we are individuals, and when we put our we flip our leg over a motorcycle and we sit on them and we turn that engine on, as soon as the ignition is done, the fun starts there. So whether it's the thumping feeling of a V-twin, even a Harley, which is, I'm not a big fan of Harley Davidson, to be honest with you, but I think that is also cool. So this to say that in my case, the V-twin from the SV650, which has been around forever, I had a 2000 model carbureted. It's perhaps the most fun I had on two wheels ever. Of course, the VFR will always remain my favorite motorcycle, but that does not necessarily that the motorcycle serves its purpose justly. This to say that when getting on a motorcycle and when product needs to suit the purpose, you will find that cubic centimeters or inches are not necessarily the solution to a problem. Yes, in South Africa, on our highways, you've all seen on my videos the kind of driving that is that takes place on our roads, and this might go against some popular beliefs which support the idea that having the power to run out of trouble is not necessarily the way a good motorcyclist should have to resort to get out of trouble. In other words, a good motorcyclist should be able to avoid getting into trouble in the first place. So back to the motorcycling of the mid-sized bikes which I am talking about. The MT-07, I'm going to put a couple of clips to give you some stats on some of the 600s that have come across my path. I've never ridden the MT-07, but I have ridden next to one on my 650 at the time, and if I can recall, the fun factor was pretty much the same as the SV650. There are one or two. My CBF 600 also, it doesn't do 250 kilometers per hour or 240, whatever that the VFR does, or 300 for that matter on a R1, but I certainly can keep up with the big boys, as they say, but I'm able to enjoy the motorcycle more often than they probably would if they're going to be using the motorcycle often. If you were just a weekend rider, then yes, on a highway, on a straight line, then get yourself a Busa or a ZX14, 1400 cc's of power, or 1300 of Busa power. Put a turbo in there and make that straight even more fun. But at the end of the day, this is just to highlight the fact that you don't necessarily have to ride a bike that size, particularly if you are going to be maneuvering the bike, which happens a lot of the time, especially with the folk in Europe, where the roads are a little bit less broader than the States, the roads in the States, or our roads in South Africa, where we have a lot of space to maneuver around. I've often seen guys on big bikes having to help each other, reverse them out of particularly complex situations where the fall of the motorcycle would be imminent, just maneuvering it. I myself, as you saw in previous videos on the VFR 800, I had to rethink and re-strategize the way I maneuvered that bike in my garage here, exactly because of that reason, despite the fact that it was only 6 or 7 kilograms heavier than my CBF. This to say that fun on a motorcycle does not necessarily mean 220 horses, which is certainly available in this day and age. H2 power on the highway, cruising up to 400 and odd kilometers per hour. That's how fast motorcycles have become. What are they going to what envelope are they going to push us next? I suppose with the electric powered motorcycles. In the future, speed might not be a limitation anymore, but I can certainly say, for as long as the combustion engine exists, my theory on not having to have the biggest engine in the world is certainly the way to go with a motorcycle, if you're gonna, especially if you only have the one motorcycle. Would I have the VFR 800 alone as a single bike compared to the CBF 600? I probably would, because it's my favorite motorcycle, but it does not necessarily mean it would serve the purpose. Yes, here in the country, the VFR 800 would probably be suitable, but like I say, as a general rule, the smaller engines, up to a 400, I don't think anything under a 400 would, not in this part of the world, would do the trick, but it would certainly be a lot more practical. I've seen Kawasaki 400s doing a pretty job of keeping up with the big guys as well. And this to say, and finally, that the petrol consumption on those motorcycles, and I'm not going to play around on this one, I'm going to say it straight, even a 600 is heavy on fuel compared to a motor car these days. So the story of saying that we are going to be saving fuel to tell our wives that we are that our aim is to save money because we're getting a motorcycle, that might work with them, but not with us that have been around and have ridden motorcycles for a while now. So I hope you've enjoyed the rest of the footage that I've brought to you, a small compilation of footage of what I believe is supports the theory of the mid-sized motorcycle industry, which has brought me much joy. So thank you for joining. Well, I'll see you on the next one, and I will have footage of a breakfast run yet again. I am still trying to get over the event that we went to yesterday, which was pretty hectic, to say the least. Like I said, it's not one of those things that you'd consider. It's two different kind of funs: riding a motorcycle and going to earn a living while having fun as well. So, but we'll discuss that at another time. This video is mostly in support of the mid-sized motorcycles. And by the way, don't forget to see the Hornet, which has been launched already, the 750 twin by Honda 2023 model, which has been uploaded on this video. I'm sure you've come across it by now. And enjoy your day wherever you are, or evening, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless.